Hi guys, the episode that you're just about to listen to is generously sponsored by our affiliates Board Game Crate. Board Game Crate provide a monthly subscription service where they get fresh new games delivered straight to your door. Just head over to www.boardgamecrate.co.uk, and furthermore, if you use our discount code UnluckyFrogIsAwesome, all lowercase, all one word, you'll get a cheeky little discount. It's easy to remember because it's true.
Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your usual hosts here, Josh Hartley and Ben Porter. Ben, how are we doing?
OG hosts tonight.
OG, yes, kicking it old school.
Yeah.
I sound so white when I say that.
Yeah, we just can't help it.
Anyway, we are here. The meat of the episode, the main course, if you will.
The entree.
Yeah, is going to be our retrospective of 2019.
We sound really white, don't we?
I mean, we are doing a podcast about tabletop games, so maybe it just can't be avoided.
Witness the whiteness, people.
Witness me! So, we're going to get to that in a moment. We do have a few things to cover off before we do that. We've got a correction.
Do we?
Yes, and I deliberately haven't mentioned this to you. My bonus on Solway story.
Right.
Yeah, my dad has contacted me and told me that I've got it wrong.
Dear.
Okay, so what I was correct with...
This was from 2 episodes ago? It was the
this
first
is
episode of the
two
year?
episodes ago, right? So what I was correct with was that a gang of Scots rode across the Solway, tried to nick one of the bells.
There was a period of time where this was like an average weekend.
Ah,
Like,
10 years ago.
yeah.
But this was hundreds of years ago, sorry. And they did try and get it back across the Solway and dropped it in the Solway Firth because they couldn't. It was sinking the boat.
Yeah, capsizing it.
What I got wrong was that was not the end of the petty theft.
Okay.
The English went across to Annan and nicked one of Annan's church bells, but unlike the Scots, were successful in getting it back.
Okay.
So it is actually Annan's church bell that is in the church in Bowness-on-Solway to this day, and it is a vicar from Annan who comes across and asks for the bell back,
Okay.
not the other way round.
Right.
So, sorry about that.
I mean, I don't care. It's the fact that this town's whole history is built around it. I mean, it says a lot about...
I will have you know, the Bowness-on-Solway's main history, its main contribution to the history of the UK, is being the end of Hadrian's Wall. That is the most important thing about that place. And it was a Roman fort.
But you never talk about that. You always talk about this petty theft.
Yeah, because that's much funnier. like we all know what Hadrian's Wall is. There's nothing hilarious about that. I really like the mental image of these gangs just going, right, well, they took our bell, let's go take theirs.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Weird.
On to things relating to board games. What we've neglected to do is that we have a giveaway for a Genki Gear t-shirt.
Whoop whoop.
Yes. So, you guys, before Christmas, you were sharing our post about Genki Gear and the t-shirt designs that Ben and I were handsomely sporting, if I may say so myself.
Exceedingly handsome.
Yes.
Some would say.
Absolutely. Now, do you know what, Ben? There are 18 potential winners here.
Okay.
Do we have a 20-sided dice stand?
Well, why don't I just pick a number? Because I can't see them from my vantage
For
point.
for the clarity, for the purpose of the tape, Ben is not looking at this,
For the benefit of the tape.
and we are just picking them at
So if
random.
this goes to court...
Yeah, this was at random. So, Ben, number.
8.
It's Mr. Ewan Bowers. Ewan, we'll get in touch with you,
There you
and
go.
you can
You can be a Dapper Dan along
Yes.
with...
Not that you're not always. That was very nearly Charlotte, by the way.
Was it? Okay.
so Charlotte won't be winning a t-shirt.
Indeed she will not.
But Ewan will be in touch, and we'll get you sorted out with a t-shirt.
And do check out Genki Gear. They get some fantastic original designs. They do have a whole range of tabletop gaming themed
Yes.
t-shirts now.
The one I was wearing, I had a choice of a couple, and I picked the one that had a character just saying bugger, because
Yeah.
Northern England.
Yes.
So
Very,
so
very
it's-
fitting.
it spoke to me.
Resonated with
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, absolutely check them out, and we'll include a link to their shop in the show notes.
Congratulations, Mr. Bowers.
Yes, congratulations. And without further ado, shall we dive into our retrospect on 2019? So where are we going? So we'll begin with, like last year, we're going to do 4 categories.
Yes.
So
We've got game of the year, obviously. We have best original artwork for a tabletop game. We had to slightly
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
rework the wording of this because basically we realised that a lot of games reuse assets.
Yes.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to win best artwork, it has to be the first time that the artwork is used in a game.
In a game.
We've got best miniatures range,
Yes.
and then we have best expansion /
New edition. Because there's a lot of new editions.
Yes.
So what will we start with then? Should we just start with that last one?
We'll start with the best expansion / new edition.
So I'll get this right out of the way right now.
Yep.
Neither of us have had a chance to play Dune.
No, and I think that's probably the big one as far as new editions this year, because you just could not get it anywhere.
Yeah.
And it is a really, really good game. Apparently, we did not get a chance.
No,
to play
I
it.
haven't played it, so I've no idea. But everyone who has played it loves it.
Yeah.
In fact, Thomas down in Geekaboo was telling him about his... He had one game that was over very, very quickly, and then it started up again, and it lasted the entire night. So it can be unpredictable.
I do really like the Dune IP. I've never seen the Crazy 80s film.
Oh, with Sting.
No, I've never seen the film, but I have read the book,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And it's completely unique as far. I mean, I think there's probably a lot of sci-fi that nods to it now, and is influenced by it, but it is its own thing.
I have neither read the book nor watched the film. All I know is that it's got giant worms and something about spice being important.
Still suits.
What?
Well, they all wear the still suits on the planet Dune because water is such a precious resource. So they all wear suits that recycle their own moisture.
Oh.
Got to do what you got to do on Dune.
Yeah, but maybe don't live on Dune. Right.
he who controls the spice also drinks his own piss, apparently.
Wow. Words of wisdom right there. So, it's spoilers, it's not Dune because we didn't play it, and
No.
we're not going to give a nod to something we haven't played. So what does that leave us with?
It leaves us predominantly with expansions to games that we already play. I guess the lifestyle games, you would call them. So
Yes.
card games always get expansions in them, and then well, we both play war games, and there was a slew of expansions. There's always expansions for them. So.
So let's wade through some of those. Magic the Gathering. As you all know, I play Magic the Gathering quite a bit. 2019 was not a good year. Each set, it started off okay.
Mm-hmm.
It started off with Ravnica Allegiance, which was fine.
And Ravnica is always like a fan favourite, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
it's,
corporate safe for Wizards.
yeah.
The next set was War of the Spark, which its gimmick was all the Planeswalkers. All the Planeswalkers.
I've seen a lot of people complaining about that because Planewalkers are...
They're busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple of broken ones printed in that set. Core set 2020. I don't know why the 2020 and 2019 and 2021 and 2020 it confuses me. But Core set 20 had a card that was so strong that it had to get emergency banned in standard.
Ban.
Right.
The ban police
Yeah.
raiding the place.
Just woo whoop. Put your hands up, Field of the Dead. Like, you're coming with us. But not to outdo themselves, Wizards' next set, Throne of Eldraine, had not one but two cards that had to be emergency banned in standard. Not only that, one of them, Oko, Thief of Crowns, it's pretty much banned in every single format now.
So it's not so much power creep as
Power
assault.
Power nut shot. Like, just absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea, particularly Oko. Anyone, this is going to sound like foreign language to you, Ben, so I'm sorry, but anyone who plays Magic the Gathering will know how miserable playing against Oko Thief of Crowns is. So just take it from me. It was not a good time. And it's a shame because that set in particular, Throne of Eldraine, was themed around Arthurian legend and the Grim Tales. And like aesthetically, it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
There were loads of like really cool cards about knights and all these old fairy tales. It was great. Completely ruined by these two cards.
Yeah, but just by the way it functions.
Yeah.
So all in all, bad year for Magic
Nah.
in terms
A
of...
solid nah.
But mainly, the issue is from game balance.
Yes. Yeah, if you're even remotely a competitive player, it was not a great year. Yeah. So that's the state of play with Magic. So we ain't nominating any of them.
Yep.
How about our friends over at Games Workshop?
Well, I'll talk about Warcry a bit later on, because that was really good.
Yeah.
But as far as Age of Sigmar went, which is, like Josh plays Magic, Ben plays Age of Sigmar, that's my jam. They released a new expansion called Forbidden Power back in July.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah.
Sounds
powerful.
powerful.
Sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
Forbidden Power. I want to know about that. This was an expansion that was intended to advance the story again, which is a cool new thing they've been doing, right?
Yeah.
Because the story stagnated for I think decades.
Yeah.
I think they retconned some stuff, but the actual narrative didn't progress. So Forbidden Power is an expansion along the same lines as the Malign Sorcery,
Yeah.
where you get a book, you get some tokens, and there's some endless spells and things that
Okay.
they're not necessarily soldiers, but they're things you can use with your army or
Yeah.
on your game board. But it was just a bit meh as an expansion. Like the Soul Wars came out and that was phenomenal
Yeah.
because it totally changed the way the game was played. You had the cool new army with the Night Haunt, and everyone has since Soul Wars came out gotten cool endless spells or something like that for their
Yeah.
army. But with Malign Sorcery, they really hyped... Sorry, not Malign Sorcery. With Forbidden Power, they really hyped up the fact that Sigmar's got these storm vaults and he's locked up hence the Forbidden Power, and he's locked away either these really powerful artifacts, sometimes entities,
Ooh.
in these vaults, and they really hyped this up, who this guy was, and you just get this kind of weird distorted image at the end.
Right.
The end of the book, they didn't even reveal who he was.
What?
Yeah, they just sort of teased it out. Turned out it's this new character who's the leader of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Alright. More undead guys.
Yeah, it's
And
like...
I love undead as well, but like...
As far as character development goes, there's only so much you can do with the undead thing, you know. So that It's the fact that they did the sort of J.J. Abrams mystery box thing,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, it's a mystery, you're gonna love this, and like, okay, we're still waiting. Like, oh, the mystery is over here. Nah, don't like it.
Okay. It's disappointing. What would be locked away in your Storm Vault?
Like, are you asking like me personally, or like what would I have liked to have been in the Storm Vault?
Let's go with both. Let's hear the answer
Okay.
for both.
I'll start with what I would have liked to have been in
The one that isn't insane.
Yeah, so I would like to have been Vlad von Karsten from the Old World.
Yeah.
And I know some people are complaining about the amount of throwbacks to the Old World, but Vlad was an awesome character.
A conflicted character as well, because he was evil, but
He's like an anti-hero though.
there was an order to what he wanted to do.
Yeah, because in the End Times story arc, he actually becomes an Elector Count and
Yeah.
fights to defend the Empire.
Yeah, because he doesn't want chaos to
No.
overturn everything.
Which is a really cool thing, and I thought that could be interesting because I mean the good guys don't trust him, and the Gash hates him
Yes.
because he betrayed them. So you get this weird sort of middle ground that he would have been in. That's what I was hoping for,
Yeah.
but alas,
No
it's
Vlad.
just some boring minion.
Mm-hmm.
I would put flip flops in mine.
What?
I hate flip flops.
Oh right, we're locking him up. This isn't something to be kept safe. This is something to keep away
No,
from.
we're
the
locking
world.
it away from the world
Right,
so no
okay.
one can have them. So all the flip flops are going in the Storm Vault.
But what? So hold on. What's your beef with flip flops?
Well, one, they're unsightly, and you see people's ugly feet. And then the other thing is, you get this
Oh yeah.
type noise when people walk about in them, and people always insist upon wearing them on holiday. And you
So yeah. So okay, I'm completely with you.
Okay.
Don't like the sight of feet. They disgust me.
Yep.
The worst part of the human anatomy. We should have hooves instead.
Yeah.
And the thing about the noise they make as well. Yeah, fair enough. But what do you wear on holiday? Like by the pool?
I would wear like Vans, you know.
Is that not a pain in? Is that not a pain in the arse just getting in and out of the pool and like just excuse me while I tie my shoelaces?
No, not the ones with shoelaces on.
Oh, the sort of the slip-on ones,
yeah, like,
right?
like
Okay,
slip-on
okay.
canvas shoes. That's what. I
But
would
then they
wear.
get wet.
Yeah, but you're on holiday; they'll dry out.
Got an answer for everything.
Yeah, well, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Well, no, fair. I don't know what I'd lock away in my Storm Vault.
a person, maybe.
Well, I mean, if I want to do something for the greater good, maybe Nigel Farage, but
Yeah.
I think that there's no point in doing that now. It's all done.
It's all out there.
I mean, he's still an awful person, but whatever. That's us alienating our 1% of UKIP voters.
Yeah. I would put and flip flop wearers. if they're
Yes,
out there.
yeah. I dare say we've got a few more flip flop wearers.
Yeah. But
Listen.
I hate them
Okay.
with a venom.
I had no idea you hate them that
I
much.
hate them so much. I hate the. I've got this weird thing about sounds though.
Right.
Like if someone eats too loudly,
There's a name for that.
it actually makes me.
What's the
angry.
name for that?
Like, apparently, I have discovered in adulthood that other people have it, and it's an actual
It is a proper thing, yeah.
recognised condition. But yeah, and flip flops are a sound that really make me angry.
You just want to punch a dude.
Seriously,
Wow.
they're so irritating.
Okay.
and it's the sight of them as well. It's
Noted.
the fact that they're cheap. They're usually made from that disgusting sort of
So
plastic.
I'm just laughing at how okay. You listener can't see just how irritated Ben is getting by flip flops just by talking about them.
Just thinking about them.
Yeah.
You know when you get them where it's that sort of plasticky sponge?
Yeah.
And they're usually like baby blue or
Yeah.
pink. And you can see how dirty the person's feet is because
yeah.
and they get that gross, it's like memory foam where the foot's sort of impressed upon the foam of the flip flop.
Yeah. Oh no.
They're just
okay.
awful.
Just the worst.
And you get the ones where it's like I believe it's called the thong, where it actually like goes between their toes.
I thought that's the one you were talking about.
And the toes are you get the flip flops where there's like a Velcro thing.
Right.
Stops,
Okay.
you know, like the more traditional flip flop where it would
The working man's
Yeah.
flip flop.
which isn't quite as offensive as the sponge with the toe hook,
Ugh.
for want of a better phrase.
I can never wear those because I'd always get a blister.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't wear them.
Right. Well, noted. If we ever go on holiday, I'm not wearing flip flops around you. For fear of repercussion. we were talking about games.
Yes.
And expansions. There's another notable expansion that we want to talk about before we actually reveal our winner of the category, Wingspan. The Wingspan expansion is lovely, by all
Yes.
accounts. It's not winning it, though, because it doesn't really do anything new. It's just more birds, which is great,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't actually change the game in any meaningful way.
No. So
As far as I'm concerned, anyway.
no. So we've not picked that. What we have picked, I feel like this might be a little controversial.
I think some people are going to say we're cheating.
Yeah. We've picked Sushi Roll.
Yeah. Yes, it's with dice.
Yeah.
But it is the same game, but just done differently. So
It's fundamentally, you've got all the fun and decision making of Sushi Go, but it's a more tactile experience.
yeah, and like we should say as well, like as with Sushi Go and Sushi Go Party, the presentation is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the dice are really nice and chunky,
Sort of kawaii, like
Yeah.
sushi pieces with the
and
faces.
all the little pieces on the dice, very clear, very distinct. You know exactly what it is that you've rolled there. So
Your player board actually tells you how many times each symbol occurs in each dice as well. So it is
the player boards and like the little conveyor track, they're all really
Yeah.
chunky as
Yeah.
well, like hard wearing, really nice on the eye, and it's just a fun little game.
who doesn't like chucking dice about?
I know I do. Probably wouldn't be doing this if I didn't.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's our pick for best expansion / new edition. I suppose really a new edition-ish.
A new implementation.
Ooh, very fancy.
Yes.
Very fancy.
So that's what we've picked, and I think some people are going to say it's not a new edition and it's not a new expansion.
Well, they can fight me.
Yeah.
That's not terribly threatening. I'm aware of that, but they can.
Yeah. They will have to fight you. But that's more the thing of, can they bring themselves to...
Well, like I just create like confusion by insisting on them fighting me.
Yeah.
Like they're just let's not analyze this
Well,
anymore.
put it this way, I feel like the demographic that's sort of listening to this are not really the fighting types.
No.
So if faced with the choice of they have to insist you're wrong and fight you, or accept your difference of opinion, I think they're more inclined to accept your difference of opinion.
That's fair. Yeah, I'd like to think most of our listeners are reasonable adults. So,
Yeah. Well, it's more the fact that I don't think they can actually fight.
oh wow, shots fired to listeners. Like,
Come and fight me.
I haven't announced it yet, but the event at Aircon is going to be a boxing match where you can get in the ring with Ben.
I feel.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not doing that.
Yeah. Let's move on to best artwork. So,
best artwork.
should we mention just Wingspan again right off the bat?
Yeah.
Yeah, just fantastic looking game. Like the art style is so consistent, and that's particularly impressive given how many individual art assets there are in that game.
Well,
Like how big's the deck?
It's not just that. It's particularly impressive when you consider how diverse all the birds are.
Yeah.
As well, because there tends to be, generally speaking, when when you're creating art for a game, people like to have like a color palette. Like it'll be pastel tones, or going to use black and neon, or if it's the sci-fi.
The
type
birds
thing.
are all over the place.
Yeah, birds are all kinds of wacky colors. You get them as drab as the crows, but then you get totally crazy out there type bird, like turkeys are all kinds of crazy colors.
Yeah. So it's just such a gorgeous game to look at, and it's probably our runner-up. I don't think I'm overstepping the mark when I say that, right?
No, I would say so. I would say it's the runner-up, and then Magic the Gathering nearly always has some interesting new artwork.
Like I said, Throne of Eldraine, while being like a very bad expansion for the game, had some absolutely stunning artwork. In particular, Throne of Eldraine, because what they did in this set was select cards. They would do alternate art versions that you could just crack open, but instead of being in the normal Magic the Gathering style, there's probably a better word for it, but like that's all I can think of. Like the sort of art style you associate with that game. It was done in the art style of a fairy tale book.
So it's a slightly different direction for the...
Yeah, they looked like sort of a 19th century children's illustrations.
Because normally Magic is very... sort of, I guess you could call it like...
high fantasy.
But like photorealistic almost.
Yeah, high fantasy realism.
Yeah.
Like, they tend to go for...
Yeah.
There's some cartoonish flair in there, but for the most part, they try and keep it quite grounded and quite believable looking.
Like if you see a planeswalker, for instance, their hair might be on fire and all that, but they look like
how a person you'd expect to look. Whereas these bits of art, they were just absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
But the experience of that set has tainted me on my opinion of them. Yeah. So that's not winning either.
Yeah. As far as Games Workshop, there's some absolutely phenomenal artwork for Warcry again, because we're seeing a brand new portion of the Mortal Realms there in the Bloodwind Spoil.
Yeah,
which is a portion of the Mortal Realms that has been completely infected with chaos.
Oh, lovely.
So where a lot of the artwork had been like that sort of parasitic type chaos, where like you can see trees and things, but they've got like nurgly pustules,
tendrils. Yeah.
This is like complete chaos.
Complete chaos.
If that makes there ironically is an order to chaos, but there's some really evocative artwork with the fighters clashing, and the Fireslayer book came out very early.
You are a little biased on
I'm a little biased on that, but there's some really awesome who doesn't like new dwarf artwork?
Dwarfs fighting things.
Yeah, dwarfs on fire.
Dwarfs on fire fighting things. Yeah.
So some really cool artwork, and kind of similar to the Magic the Gathering artwork there, where it's like high fantasy on a really epic scale. So it's always really cool when you see brand new Games Workshop art, because they do have a tendency to recycle a lot of their assets.
Looking at you, John Blanche illustrations.
Yeah. So that was neat. But as far as the best artwork that we saw in a game this year, I have to say it was Parks.
So this is why we've had to sort of tweak the wording, the exact wording of the award, because the trouble with Parks is the artwork wasn't specifically created for the game.
No, but it is the first game that
to use the
artwork.
The artwork is, of course, the absolutely iconic lithographs representing the state parks of the United States of America. Yeah. And if you have not seen them before, check them out. They are bloody gorgeous, is the only way that I can describe them.
And what's nice about them is that they all feel like they work together, but they are all completely different. Like not just down to what they're representing, but even like the styles that they use.
Yeah.
Some of them, they're... Because I was looking through the artist names, and some of them are like wacky, like it's obviously like a person's username or something.
Yeah, sure.
Like and then some of them are established illustrators as well.
Yeah.
So it means that you've got very wildly varying pieces of art within that, but somehow they just all feel like they work. I guess like they're all made in that same spirit of they each bring, like the parks, an individual character and uniqueness to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite like that, you know, that is evident within the design, you know, first of all of the print series and then within the game itself.
Yeah.
But you have that cool thing of, you know, within the game, whenever you reveal a new card, everyone has that ooh moment, and they, you know, they're fawning over it.
And that's a very rare thing in a
Yeah.
game. With like, it's quite normal to like play a game and you'll see a cool bit of art and you'll be like, oh, that's all right. Oh, that's all right. Parks, you're absolutely right. People stop playing to acknowledge and look
And they
and
pass it
lord
round.
over
Yeah.
the artwork. So, yeah, it was a no-brainer, really, in giving Parks a nod. I've just realised, right, I've just been thinking, I've been to the US a couple of times, right? I don't think I've ever been to any of their national parks.
I think I've been to a few of them,
Right.
but that's because I think most of the national parks are Midwest.
Midwest to West Coast,
yeah.
right?
Because
Well, that's like where Yellowstone and like...
well, it's the frontier, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the
There's some in the Northeast, though.
oh
isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah. There is some, yeah, for sure.
'Cause
And
it's the Northeast that I've been to the most.
there's a few in the likes of like Louisiana, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
places like that. But generally speaking, I think most of them are in the more untamed parts of the country for you know, obvious reasons.
It's actually crazy when you think about it, because obviously we are, at the grand scheme of things, a very small island,
Yep.
like compared to America, and you don't really get a sense of scale until you're there. I remember last time I was over there, we ended up we were in Connecticut and we were going to this resort that was just in the middle of a forest. And when I say in the middle of a forest, I mean in the middle of a humongous sea of trees.
Yeah.
Like, I've never... It's hard to imagine how in the United States people get lost in the woods and tragically don't make it back.
Yeah.
But that is just how big those
There's a
natural parks are.
there's a short story called The Wendigo,
Mm.
and there's a really great description of it because it's from the perspective of a Brit
Yeah.
in Canada,
Right.
so North America.
Yeah, yeah.
And he says that the forests of America are not like the forests of Britain, that they're primeval, and that's like that encapsulates
Yeah,
it.
well, no, they are.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
But, yeah, that's something to do the next time I go over, whenever that will be.
So off the top of my head, I've been to Death Valley. I have been to the Grand Canyon, it's a national park.
yeah,
as well.
of course.
And it is encompassed within a national park. I can't remember which, but I have been to Lake Tahoe, which is
that Yellowstone? I don't know.
no, it's not. It's not Yellowstone.
Right.
It's I can't remember the name of it, but it is.
It's part of a national
It's
park.
part of a national park, and Lake Tahoe is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Death Valley sounds so heavy metal.
Yeah.
Does it look heavy metal?
Not in the way you would expect.
Okay.
There's not a lot there.
Well, hence death.
Yeah. It's one of the driest places on Earth. So some very, very specialised animals live there.
Wow.
It's
It's in Nevada, right?
it's in Nevada going into California.
Right, okay. That was my guess anyway. Have we ever mentioned your uncle on the podcast?
I don't think so. But
Ben has an uncle who lives in Vegas,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I kind of figured it was within shooting distance of Vegas.
Yeah, well, it was when we drove through when I was 8. Actually.
Right. Oh wow. Okay.
And it was when my uncle still stayed in North California,
Right. Okay.
and we drove through Death Valley as part of our little road trip because we went to Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
and we drove to Vegas. And I've got this really cool memory
Mm-hmm.
of when I was 8. We were doing the drive, and I'd fallen asleep,
Mm-hmm.
and I woke up in Las Vegas.
Like just on the strip.
So I'd fallen asleep in the desert.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. Like, it is literally black.
Yeah.
You can just see as far as your headlights. We saw a desert fox
Oh, that's cool.
run across the road at one point, but I fell asleep and I woke up in Las Vegas, like with all the
Just
lights.
all the lights, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
And, like it's made that bit more surreal by the fact that you're just a child.
Yeah. I'd love to go.
Yeah.
Like, I know people like sometimes criticize Vegas for being fake. I would say this, like, Vegas to me seems like it knows it's fake and it's all right with it.
It's embracing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I would quite like to see what it's
To people
all
that
about.
have never gone, this sounds weird, but there are really classy parts of Las Vegas.
No, I imagine there is.
It is one of these sort of all-purpose entertainment metropolises.
Yeah.
They have a massive esports arena there now as well.
Yeah, I know, and I know with a lot of the tabletop tournaments, their marquee event will be in. We got the Las Vegas Open for like miniatures gaming,
Yep.
and then invariably the biggest Grand Prix in the Magic the Gathering circuit will be whatever Grand Prix is being held at Vegas that year. So,
And I think it is just as simple as, because it's not necessarily the most central Vegas,
No.
but it's that thing of we can turn it into a holiday. We might as well go.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been tempted. I think what I'd do is if I went to Vegas, I'd tie it in with like either a big Magic the Gathering event or some sort of big convention over there. Gen Con is not in Vegas, so I can't do that. But anyway, we have our best miniatures range. So which line of Games Workshop miniatures are we going to give it to this year?
Well, I actually we discussed this before we come on the show. Obviously, may surprise some people to hear that we actually do talk about things. We don't just.
I, for one, just wing everything, but
we don't just come on here and run our mouths.
Yeah.
One of the things that is irking me a little bit about some of the recent releases from Games Workshop is they actually feel quite over-designed.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because you're much better painter than I am. Right. I am functional.
Yeah, you hold your own.
Yeah. But it's actually really intimidating to sit down in front of a miniature that has just detail like all over the place.
It feels when they do that as if it's designed to be a boutique miniature, because it's a level of detail that someone who's primarily a gamer is not really concerned about.
Well, no, because most of the time you spend with these miniatures, you're probably a good 4 to 6 foot away from them.
Yeah.
So
most people that are primarily gamers are only concerned about how that miniature looks from a distance of a foot at the most, probably.
Yeah.
And when they're covered in medals and battle scars and all these weird little decals,
it loses something.
Yeah, I think over-designed is the word for it, because I think more detail doesn't necessarily make something better.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at the popularity of some of the artwork in popular culture. You look at a lot of the cartoons we grew up watching. I was rewatching Dexter's Lab.
Oh, cracking cartoon.
I was watching episodes of Dexter's Lab Sunday morning, and the simplicity of those characters.
Oh yeah, I mean they are they are very just much block shapes. A collection of very simple shapes, and it somehow makes a child.
And they're not going to be improved by more detail.
No.
So I think that's, and it's something that Tom and I talked about quite a bit recently. Similar to yourself, like a friend of Tom's was saying that he feels that a lot of the miniatures are too detailed to the point where it actually demotivates him from painting it.
Aye, so what's the point?
Yeah, like how am I going to make that look good when it's
Yeah.
got that level of detail on it?
However, we do say this, but they are still putting out some fantastic products as well.
I think particularly the Warcry stuff this year, we thought, and I think actually this sort of speaks to our line of argument, because as much as they've got some phenomenal poses on them, there's a simplicity to a lot of the Warcry range that I think has been missing from a lot of their recent designs.
They're fairly bare bones.
I hate that the new Abaddon.
Oh, with the off button on his back.
There's just too much going on him.
But yeah, you're right. It's like they're trying. It's some sort of weird pissing contest of look how much stuff we can put on this little miniature, and like
I know, I understand that whole thing of, you know, you want a miniature to tell a story, but again, just because,
tell one story.
yeah, you know, just because your story is 1,000 pages long doesn't make it more interesting. It's
So, what is the winner?
so we've picked something a little bit more unusual this year. We have decided to go with the Mortal Gods character range for the game Mortal Gods. So these are a miniature range that are primarily available through Footsore, and it's the company that publishes the game. I think they've had some problems with their name, because originally they were War Banner,
Right,
and then they were Grey for Now because they ran into a little
litigation.
little litigation. Can't imagine who with.
Who knows? But yes, they speak to me anyway. They are a bit of less is more.
Yeah.
In stark contrast to the over-designed stuff of Games Workshop.
I'm actually holding one just now, and like one of the things that the guys who are a lot more experienced with miniatures will tell you is that you can immediately tell a miniature that's been hand sculpted from one that
in
has
CAD.
that's been computer drawn or computer sculpted, and it's one of the reasons that I really liked a lot of the Forge World stuff, because a lot of that was hand sculpted, especially like the monsters, or at least it was minimal computer aided drawing. It just feels like there's a little bit more love in them.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. See, if you ask me like my favourite miniatures that I have, like I think my favourite miniature is that old Necromancer that I have.
Yeah.
The one, I think he's from the 80s, and he's such a simple model, but you can tell so much about his character just by looking at him.
Yeah.
And likewise with these guys as well. Like we're looking at who I imagine to be some sort of captain of the guard here.
Yeah. So we've got Mortal Gods is a Greek skirmish game, ancient Greek skirmish game. So it's mainly hoplites, and I have here a Greek Lokos, which I believe is equivalent to like a captain rank officer, because he's got the more fancy plumage on his helmet. He's got you can see it's like the Corinthian style helmet where it's got the nose guard that comes down, very iconic. And he's got a humongous spear. Way penis jokes.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a degree of like motion to his cape. He looks like
he's kind of standing in a light breeze.
but he looks quite defiant. You know, he's sort of evokes like I've actually given him a Spartan shield, and that's what he looks like. He's shouting down the enemy, and I just think they're true scale 28, I think,
but still full of character, even though they are realistically posed.
Yeah, they're a beautiful range of miniatures, and I think in light of the fact that we have been quite critical of the direction that Games Workshop seem to be taking, I don't think it would be right to give it to them. And
Yeah.
I think in many ways the Mortal Gods range is the antithesis of the direction that Games Workshop have been heading in recently. So
Yeah. So there we are. Mortal Gods wins the best miniatures. So on to the best game of 2019 for us. So what honourable mentions do we want to talk about first? Probably a lot that we've already discussed, to be fair, or a lot of games we've mentioned.
well, the big one for me was Warcry.
Yeah.
So our regular listeners will know I became a father for the first time last year, and my gaming time has been somewhat shrunk
Diminished.
as a result of that, and it sounds silly, but it feels almost like Warcry was a war game designed for new dads,
Right.
because it hits all the same beats and all the interest and decision making of a game of Age of Sigmar, but it's played in a fraction of the time, and you can play it on a kitchen table.
On a coffee table.
People say that about war games in general. You can play it in a kitchen
No,
table.
you can't.
Bollocks. Very few of them actually have a footprint small enough to accommodate that.
Yeah.
Warcry does. It comes with boards, which again I think they're obviously trying to coax over some
Tempt some of the board gamers.
Yeah, because I mean that's just surged massively, and to that end, they've really been pushing the boxed games, and they did the fantastic value for money set of for Warcry, where it came literally with everything you needed to play.
Yep. 2 warbands.
Because again,
Full warbands.
they say that about the 2 army starter sets, everything you need to play. Again,
No, not strictly true.
no. But everything that you needed to play Warcry was in that box.
Yeah. And it's, to me, it very much reminds me of the way the game plays. Reminds me of like the action economy of games like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. It's a weird thing to say, and it seems redundant to say, but that feels very different to most miniatures games.
Well, even that's a really good comparison that I hadn't thought of, because more often than not, you've got your 2 actions in a turn, which is very much a role-playing game
That's
thing,
a Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
thing, right?
And you've also got the dice that you roll determine what abilities you can activate.
Yep.
So usually you've got 2 abilities you can activate in a turn, and you have to be quite clever about the turn that you do the order that you do things in.
Yeah. No, I really admired the team behind it at GW because they did think out of the box. I mean, I love Kill Team, but Kill Team is basically just a scaled down 40k. This feels very different.
Yeah.
This feels very different.
The fact that you can play it, again, I feel like a lot of skirmish games make promises that they just do not deliver on, whereas Warcry is a small footprint game that you absolutely can play in under half an hour.
Yeah. So that is most definitely an honourable mention. I would like to talk about Villagers.
Let's talk about Villagers.
I like it. There we go. No, but for me, it was. I love drafting games.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what it is about Villagers. It's not the artwork, because I'm not a fan of the artwork. I find it a little disturbing, but the way the game plays itself.
It's funny because I found the artwork quite quaint, and I kind of like the uniformity
Yeah.
to it, and the way, like it kind of reminded me of, like, sort of cuckoo clock figures.
Yeah, I think that kind of creeps me out.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of It's a Small World, and It's a Small World is the creepiest ride in Disney.
That creeps you out.
Yes,
Why?
little dolls singing. It's a small world after all. I'm cutting that. Have you not heard the ghost story about It's a Small World?
No.
It's a ghost story about the LA one. Like, the ride goes off at night on its own accord, and no one knows why.
Seriously?
Like, yeah. Yeah, and there's all sorts of urban myths around why it does that, like, oh, someone died at the ride and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that's all unfounded. But what is known is that it does just start up by itself.
At night?
Yep. No one's there.
Why has no one looked into that?
I don't know, presumably no one wants to die. So,
Oh, I mean, that give me the shivers.
yeah,
Oh.
exactly, right?
Oh, well.
So you understand now why I find the artwork in Villagers a bit creepy.
Yeah, I find it creepy now as well.
Yeah. So, but in terms of gameplay, it scratches a couple of itches for me. I love drafting. I love engine building. How would you say you're on the game itself? You were a bit lukewarm?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I didn't love it, but I didn't despise it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I will say that I feel like games where you're accruing money for the sake of it feel a bit futile for me.
Oh, not for me.
I
love that.
I quite like it to be baked into another objective.
Right.
Whereas when you're just accruing money for the sake, it just feels futile to me. I think there's also the fact that I feel kind of married to Sushi Go, if that makes sense.
Oh, right. That's your drafting game of choice.
That's my one and only.
But Villagers is drafting and engine building.
It
But
is.
are you not that keen on engine building though?
Again, I don't like this thing of this is the mechanic of the game and that's it. I kind of like games to be like a bit more blended together.
It's fair enough. I really enjoyed it.
Because I like Gizmos. Gizmos is a fun engine building.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't as enthusiastic about it as other people were, I guess.
So, and Parks was another great game. I haven't had a chance to play much of it. You've got it.
Yes.
And backed it on Kickstarter immediately, if I recall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've played a few games of it now.
I have.
Yeah.
And it's just it feels quite similar to Tokaido.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's got a lot more replayability because Tokaido's obviously this is the board and that's
that's
the way
it.
to play. Whereas you've got a lot more variation with Parks because of the way that the card decks and the building and the trails and things like that work out. So it's similar to Tokaido, but I think I like Parks better than Tokaido.
Okay.
One because I mean Tokaido's a good looking game, but Parks is stunning.
Yes.
And it has more replayability, I think.
So, you dear listener are probably trying to guess what our game of the year is, and it's the elephant in the room, or shall I say the bird in the room. Wingspan. Of course it's Wingspan. Wingspan's great.
Yeah. It's funny though, because this is I think since we've been doing the podcast, this is like the first time that we actually agree with a lot
critical consensus,
yeah.
Yes. But it's true.
So when it comes down to picking our game of the year, it's a very simple criteria, and it's what is the game that we kept coming back to.
What's the one that we always wanted to play again?
And then the second sort of litmus test that goes by the consensus of the team. If we're maybe there's a couple, because for me, I felt like I was swinging between Wingspan and Warcry for a bit, but I think for what made me commit to Wingspan in the end was the fact that so many people immediately loved the game. My mum loved the game.
Yeah. Which
surprised me because as far as games go, I think Wingspan is probably a little...
Yeah,
it leans more to the more complex.
I certainly wouldn't describe it as gateway. Like no. I would. It's not one that I would think of putting down in front of like my family.
Yeah.
So, But I mean, it speaks volumes that you have, and it's gone over really well.
Yep.
Because it isn't a terribly easy game to wrap your head around, particularly if you're not into these games.
And when Charlotte and I first played it, certainly it took us a couple of goes to wrap our heads around it, but because we've played it so much now, I can teach it to anyone.
Yeah. And I think it says a lot, like, one of my funniest moments, just for myself, last year was getting way too excited to play a turkey, which I never thought would happen to me in a game.
Yeah.
There we go. So no, it came out really early in the year as well, but it's been pretty much consistently played here right throughout the year.
I would say so. Yeah.
We haven't wanted to put it down. There's one other thing that we forgot to mention. 2019 was the first year where we both got to play Root.
It was.
But we can't give Root the award because it wasn't it wasn't released in 2019.
I think I still there was quite always when we do these awards, there's quite a few games that we play after the fact that would have met the criteria for the award had we played it. And you get a bit of trepidation because you do feel that, oh, what if we play one that was better than something that we picked? As much as I really liked Root, I don't feel that it was necessarily better than Koi.
No.
I think Root is an extremely difficult game to learn.
Yeah, I mean, while we were just describing Wingspan as like, it's leaning towards more complex, not a gateway game, Root is complicated.
Yeah.
Do not let that cuddly artwork fool you.
And it's one of these ones where it is so complicated and is such a time sink where this part of me is almost like, do I really need to own it? Like, how often am I actually going to get that to the table?
Yeah. But yeah, Wingspan, our game of the year for 2019. So there you have it. That's our little wrap up of 2019.
The Burbs win.
Yeah, the Burbs win.
Yep.
So you did mention in a previous episode at some point over the coming months we're going to do a review of the decade as well.
Yes, we are. Obviously it's going to take us a little bit of time to collate that, but we are planning to do a bit of a retrospective on the period of 2010 to 2019, and we will look back on what we felt were some of the highlights of the decade. And by all means, you, dear listener, if there's anything that you feel deserves a mention,
you beat me to it
within an episode.
Beat me to it, yeah. But by all means, hit us up on Facebook, on Discord, on all the relevant and irrelevant social media channels, and we'll try and address as much as we can.
Yep.
So, without further ado, I think that is us for the night. So thank you for listening, guys, and until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.